Following a week of violent protests and riots, the UK held its breath for what could have been another night of disruption. Over 100 protests and counter-protests were planned across major cities in the UK. But due to a minimal turnout from anti-immigration protesters and far-right activists across the country, more scenes of violence never materialised. Huge numbers of counter-protesters showed up in force to make their voices heard that refugees are welcome and that the views of the far right do not represent the UK.
We've all seen over the past 10 days just what this country really looks like when it comes to scapegoating. All of us were appalled by the death of those 3 kids. We were appalled by it. But then the way it's been used to hunt and scapegoat black and brown people, that we are to blame. We're not. We are not to blame. It's not us, okay? It's not us.
My brothers, my sisters, I tell you, we are going to get through this. We're going to get over this. We're going to get under it. We're going to get through it. We are together in solidarity. We are going to fight. We are going to fight with all our might.
Scenes similar to that in Lewisham and Walthamstow were seen across the country. However, in Aldershot, police were formed in a line between protesters, with the counter-protesters being called communist scum.
Scum off our streets! Communist scum off our streets! Communist scum off our streets! Communist scum off our streets!
The Prime Minister held a third Cobra meeting following last night's events and reviewed how policing methods and the courts have worked in the past week since disruption began.
We had police deployed in numbers in the right places, giving reassurance to communities. We were able to demonstrate the criminal justice system working speedily. So yesterday you saw the sentencing of individuals who've been involved in disorder days ago, some of them getting sentences as long as 3 years. That sent a very powerful message. But I also think that the work that's being done jointly to reassure our communities is becoming more effective. Now, it's important that we don't let up here, and that's why later on today I'll have another Cobra meeting with law enforcement, with senior police officers, to make sure that we reflect on last night, but also plan for the coming days.
Following past disorder, more have been charged and sentenced for taking part in violence across the country. Derek Drummond was sentenced for 3 years for punching a police officer. This footage shows the moment he struck an officer in Southport on July the 30th.
Hey, one more here! Get back! Hey, get back! Get back! Get back!
Liverpool Crown Court was showing clips of Drummond kicking and attacking officers as they tried to form defensive lines with shields. It happened after Drummond of Paul Street, Liverpool, walked towards a mosque in Southport with a large crowd of people. Elsewhere, police have begun to arrest further suspects believed to be involved in disorder across the country.
The first priority is safety and security of our communities. And yes, last night was much better than was expected, but we are not going to give up on our efforts here. That's why it's very important that I continue my discussions, coordinating with law enforcement, with police leaders, to make sure we've got the right officers in the right place, to keep pushing on the criminal justice response. I was very keen that we're able to demonstrate that if you're involved in disorder, within days you'll be in the criminal justice system, and some people starting long terms of imprisonment. That needs to continue, and so that is my sole focus.
Although violent scenes like those in Southport or Rotherham weren't repeated last night, the Prime Minister still sent out a warning to those who may take part in future protests.
The most important lesson is for those involving themselves in disorder, because what we've seen is that those that are being arrested now, numbered in their hundreds, many have been charged, some already in court, and now a number of individuals sentenced to terms of imprisonment. That is a very important message to those involved in disorder. And I say it again, anybody involving themselves in disorder, whatever they claim as their motive, will feel the full force of the law. It's important I repeat that, because we need to make sure that in the coming days we can give the necessary reassurance to our communities, many of whom have been talking to some this morning, are very anxious about the situation.